Replacing the seals on your rig, first you got to determine which seals do you need. They come in different sizes, 1 inch, 7/8, and even 1 1/4. And then you want to know what tools you're going to require. Simple Phillips screwdriver or screw gun and a good razor blade to cut the sealing out. You're going to have to remove the seal and the end caps. That's where the razor blade comes in. Once you remove those, you want to carefully cut the sealant away, and then here in a moment you'll see how to remove the seal itself. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find your end points, and at each end point should be a cap. Each cap's going to have anywhere from 3 to 4 screws in it, and you're just simply going to remove those screws. Now while you're removing those screws, take the screws themselves out. Make sure that there's not any rust on them, because if there's rust on those screws, that means water intrusion. Now, when I'm talking about water intrusion, I'm talking about the shank of it. I actually have a little bit of rust on there, but it's not much to worry about. And double check that you removed all the screws. And when that's done, while Brandon's over there removing the other end cap, I'm going to go and remove the sealant. Cut the sealant from around the end cap carefully. One, you don't want to scar your rig, but you also don't want to leave any cracks for water intrusion. And of course, we're going to go back and replace the sealant. And then just, once you got it all, easily pull away. And once you get your end cap off, you can go in there later after you get the seal out and clean up all of this sealant. Now the seal itself, it's going to pull right out. Obviously mine was broken. I did a temporary repair a while back with some RTV. Pull your seal all the way out. And right here at my end cap, it actually goes up underneath a different type seal that I'm not replacing on the front cap. So what I'm going to do is gently pull that out. Don't bust your tail. And it was in about a 1/2 inch. Now when I put the new one in, I noticed there's a screw right here that should have been holding this tab down. It wasn't from the factory. I'll fix that when I put it back together. But how you determine that your seals are bad is they should be pliable. But if you start finding a split in it, like so, or just weather cracking, that's a good sign that that seal needs to be replaced. Now this is my new seal. Nice and pliable, no cracks. You just need to measure it out. Don't stretch the seal. Make sure you have enough. Pay attention, each seal is going to have a wedge on either side that gets plugged into the rail. But before you do that, take a look at all the screws that are holding the seal rail in. And if any of them are backing out or you have any dirt or water, make sure you clean that up and tighten those screws. I actually have a couple that are backing out, so I'm just going to put a wrench on them and make sure they're good. It actually wouldn't be a bad idea to just tighten each one to ensure that they're good to go. You grab your new seal, give yourself about 1 inch or whatever you think is good enough. Overlap so that you can trim it when you put your screw and your caps back on. You don't want to stretch the seal. You want to leave room for expansion and contraction depending on the weather. So I'm going to go down, start at my track, put one side in, and just simply pinch it. And it's going to create a bulb, and that's your actual water seal. That can be difficult at times, especially when you're going over a screw head. And you're simply going to walk your way all the way around. And if you have someone helping you like I do, they can guide it in. When you get to a curve like this, make sure you don't stretch it. And sometimes you even hear a little pop, like I just did. I use my fingers. You can use a wedge, or even if you're very careful, a screwdriver. Wouldn't recommend that. You will have probably some sore fingers by the end of the day, but you know you won't inadvertently crack that new seal that you just spent good money on. Can be a little difficult working upside down like this. And always go back and look and see if any came out like I just did. And once you get your method, it actually goes fairly quick. Right here, I can notice my seal came out. I'll just go back, push it in. Now this may be an area I'm up against some screw heads that you may have to use a little bit of a wedge, and I'll show you in just a moment. Now I picked up from Harbor Freight, a local Harbor Freight, some little painter's wedges. And you can take those, because they're made out of plastic, and just push those areas that are wanting to come out back underneath their slot in the rail. If you don't get them good now, have to redo it later. Now once you get to the end, you can just cut off a little bit and do your final trimming. You're not dealing with all that bulk of the roll. It does help to have someone to help nearby to help you, but it can be done on your own. My rig is 2 years old, and I noticed that the cracking started a couple months ago. So these seals are only good for 2 years at best. That's just one of those preventative maintenance tasks that you're gonna have to do on a regular basis, or pay someone to do, which you know as well as I do, $125 to $175 shop hour if you took your rig back in to a manufacturer or to a shop. Now once you get to the end of your cap, remember I had about a ½ inch that stuck up underneath there. I'm gonna trim that now because I haven't stretched it at all. And I'm gonna take my plastic tool and just shove it back up in there. Nice pair of heavy duty scissors also works really well for those fine cuts. Before you do your final trimming, go back and check your whole seal and make sure that it is standing out appropriately. We are going to put a little bit of sealant at the edges and at the caps, and that way we have a positive bond and no water intrusion. And as you can see, I'm just taking that little ½ inch that I cut, and I'm tucking it up underneath this seal right here to ensure that it does not come out, but also that we get no water inside of that area. And just like that, this side is done. Once you're ready to put your caps back on, just line up your screw holes. Now you're not going to be able to see the ones in the bulb, but you do have the one that's on the back side of the rig. And take it in. I wouldn't take it in all the way. That way you have a little bit of movement to locate the screw holes. And you'll feel it when it recesses, and that screw will go in nice. Make sure your cap's back over in position.
There it is. There's that.
Once you get them all started, you can run them up nice and snug.
Here you go.
Now I'm putting them back in hand tight. That way I won't over torque my screws. Now you see here there'll be a gap in this area, and underneath I'm gonna fill that with silicone. Then you want to pick up a good quality RV caulking. I actually went with black. It's gonna blend in a little bit better. Then you just simply put you a really nice bead across any area that's gonna allow water to get in. Make sure you fill in all the gaps so that any runoff cannot get into your facing plate.